Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of the Success Series. This is something we ran last year. We're trying to do that a bit more this year. The Success Series, for those that are joining for the first time, these are meant for our customers, meant for our users, 30-minute impactful, to the point webinars meant to help you get the most out of Sisense. We try to make sure that every Success Series has at least one actionable takeaway that you can use right away to make your life a little better using Sisense. So today, our topic is transforming your Sisense workflow with the Copilot stack. Asterisk, the Copilot stack is something that our field engineering team has created. It's community requested, something that is meant to help automate your task. Obviously, we'll be talking and diving into it a bit more today. But before I pass the mic over to our speaker for today, I am going to just go over some housekeeping items in the next slide. So at the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A section to drop your questions throughout the presentation. We're going to leave the questions till the very end of the presentation, but obviously throughout, if there's something that comes to mind, I'll be monitoring the chat. If there's something I can answer right away, I'll make sure to do that. As well, we're recorded. You can feel free to take notes or things like that, but after the webinar, I will be sending an email with the recording, with any documents and assets that the presenter mentions today. And finally, as I mentioned, I'm hoping to do more of the Success Series. Our field engineering team has been a great partner for me to help pull in topics from the community, but I want to hear from you as well. So if there is a topic that you may want to cover, you want to see covered in the future, you want to give us some feedback on how today's session went, please look for that survey in that post-webinar email. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and introduce our speaker today in the next slide, Himanshu. He's our senior solution consultant. Himanshu is awesome. He is someone that we've been trying to get on the Success Series for ever now, and he is bought in and really has created he is really the creator of the Copilot stack here. There's an amazing blog post. So Himanshu, I am going to go ahead and turn my camera off, shut up, I'll pass the mic to you, and thanks again for joining to share with our audience all about how they can transform their Sisense workflow.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining. I'm Himanshu. I work as a senior solution consultant as a field engineering services. And today we'll be looking at a few of the field engineering community solutions that we have built. And just on a high level, this is the things that we'll cover. First is what is PySisense, what is FES Assistant, then following up with the live demos, then we'll take a look at the architecture diagram, then few key takeaways, and finally the Q&A. So let's start with PySisense. PySisense is a Python SDK that turns Sisense REST API into clean, reliable, and reusable methods. It automates repetitive admin or designer or migration flows. It simplifies complex API flow into few or a single readable calls. So think it as an example, if I want to take is, suppose you were trying to create a Sisense data model, right? In the UI, you have to do so many clicks, like you create a data model, you add the table, then you have to build it. And equivalently, you can do it with the Sisense REST APIs. However, you need to know what is the right flow of each REST API that you have to call. And when you call the REST API, you have to parse the response, use the response of the previous call, and start chaining that, the flow itself. Whereas in this PySisense SDK, you just call one single method, and it automates the whole flow for you. So there is we'll go through the source code and the GitHub repo where you have the examples, just like a plug and play examples that you can use. On high level, the coverage is like the whole SDK is covered by per module. That's a Python module. Each module has its own methods or functions that is dedicated for that particular module. For example, access management is related to the users group, and admin task dashboards related to the dashboard tasks. Same for data model and migration flows. Well check is basically, if you don't know, it's a diagnostic health check for Sisense assets that FES performs for all our customers. What we do is we run those checks and we interpret all the results. But if you want to run those checks yourself, there is an option to do that in the this SDK as well. Next, let's go into the live demo on how we utilize the PySisense. First, let's go to this. Like I was saying, PySisense is an SDK. So we have created a Python package. So and it's in the PyPy server. So all you need to do is did a pip install PySisense, and you will install the Sisense, and you can start using the method. I'm using a VS Code for the demo. You can use any ID you prefer. So I already have downloaded the package, but so I'm just going to show it. Like you can see, it's 0.2.2. It's already there. Then next, we can take a look at this GitHub repo for the SDK. So you can review the README file at your own time. It gives you all the information, how it's structured and everything. But for majorly, what we'll look at the examples folder. And here we have, first we'll copy the config YAML file. So this config YAML file is basically how you authenticate to your Sisense environment using the REST API, the API token. So all you have to do is you need to copy the domain, whether it's as SSL and the token. In my case, I have already created it, and you can generate the same thing here. And once you do it, just save that config.yaml file. And then let's start building, calling a method here. So first, let's say you want to use something related to the users. So all you have to do is go to this example folder, find the access management example usage, copy the snippets, and paste it here. Oops, sorry. And then here you have, once you have pasted, so what it's doing is it's importing all the modules and initiating the classes that we require. And let's take this an example, which is get all users. And let's run this. Oops. So as you can see, just an overview, what we have done is we have called a method called get all users. What it does is it goes through the Sisense environment and find all the users that you have in the system using just one line or one method. And we have some helper functions to preview the data. So for example, to data frame, basically all the result that you have, it shows in a data frame, a pandas data frame format. Also, it has an export to CSV, which will allow you to export the result into a CSV file. So once you have done that, you can review your result and do further analysis. Same way, if you have another functions that you want to run, which is like, let's take an example of data model. Let's do this, get all data models. You can do that same here. Just make sure you import the class here. Then we need to initiate this class, and then we can copy, get all data models, and run. So as you see here again, first is you can see the raw response itself, or you can convert it into the to data frame, and you can see all the data models that you have in the system. What is the type? What is the status? And whether the size? What's the size in the disk there? Next, I wanted to cover like what is FES Assistant. So FES Assistant is a AI application that helps you run all the automation, governance, or dev to prod things. Essentially, it's similar to like if you are a non-dev user and you want to use the SDK without like creating the file, the config, and everything in a coded environment. You can use natural language to ask the same task that you wanted to perform via SDK into a chat format. The FES Assistant itself like is powered by three different components here. First is the FES agent. This agent is used to understand the intent of the user, like whatever you have typed in the chat. It understands that. Then it has access to the FES MCP, which is Model Context Protocol. It has the tool registry. And so what it does is the agent looks at your intent, look at the tool registry, and generates a selection, like what is the tool it needs to call. And once it makes a decision, it sends like initiate or call the tool, which in underlying like calls the PySisense SDK. So it's everything is automated in this format. Like it has like it knows what is the execution workflow. It has some policy and guardrails which will cover. The FES MCP, like I said, it has the tool registry, like what are the tools available for the agent to call them. It's using the standard JSON RPC tool calls. There is also streaming events. So for example, some of the longer running tasks like migration, which are like, instead of just waiting on the final result, there is a stream of events that are shown in the chat, which you will see in the demo as well. And then the PySisense, which we just covered, it has like logging and the API abstraction there. Now let's take a look at demo here, and I will go to this. So this is how the FES assistant would look like. We'll cover everything, like including the source code and all that, like if you want to install and run it in your environment. So once you do that, this is how it will look like. So there is two options. One is chat with deployment, which is like chatting to your environment, finding some information. The other one is migration between the different deployments, different tenants, or whether dev to prod syncs you want to do. So first, let's do this chat with deployment. First thing you need to provide is the Sisense domain. So I'm going to do that. And then the second thing you need is the API token. Let me wrap this. And once I do connect, on the left side, you will see the information like what is the domain it's connected to, what are the tools available for the chat. So similar to how we ran the SDK, you had like 6, 7 lines of code to find all the users in your environment. Here you can just say all the users. Once you do that, it will call the tool, call the SDK method, and you will see the result straight on your on the UI, and you can make it like larger. And then again, you can also do the download as a CSV as well here. And in the summary, you will see running the tool. Now, there is a privacy and control I was talking about. There is the flag here. So what it does is it's just like it's up to the user discretion where whether you want to enable the summarization or not. During the summary, if you enable it, the response that you see, for example, this list, right, like this user list, is like the subset of the data is sent to the LLM because we are using the agent, the LLM there, just for tool calling. But if you have the summarization enabled, then it uses the LLM to summarize the result as well. So once you allow it, so the next time you call something, let's take an example. Okay. So I'm going to ask, I want to optimize my data model, and you need to find what are the fields which are used in all the dashboards that is had. So for example, you have a data model, you have 10, 15 dashboards you already created, but you need to find out what are the columns that are being used in all those fields, because if it's not, then you want to optimize those and remove those. So you ask that question, and once it does that, it will create a list of all that findings. And here, first thing is you will see the result itself, and there will be a flag whether they are used or not. Like there is the data model, there's the table name and the columns, whether they are used or not. The second thing is the summary. It will create like, the summary instead of just saying that, it ran the tool. When you allow the summary, it gives you a short summary. And you can change the summary using the prompt engineering in the source code itself, whether you want it. And then another things it can help you define is like creating a data model from scratch. So like I was saying, in if you want to automate this task of creating the data model, you need to call multiple different API calls. All here you can do is create a live data model FAS assistant using this connection and database and this schema and limit the order. So now, the guardrail I was talking about is since it's something and a write or if it's an update operation as well, you will get an approval. You need to approve something, and which is basically you will see on the screen. It gives you just before it calls that method, it gives you information like, okay, so this is what it's going to do. It's going to create this data model name, type. It's going to use this connection name, use the database and schema name of the source to add the table, and what is the import query as well. So once you hit approve, then only it goes ahead and creates the table. Okay, so now as you can see, I disabled the summarization. So what it means is in every call, you have the option, like it's not hard coded one and all. You can decide in which prompt you want to enable the summary or not. That's up to you. So as you can see, once this is created, you will see what is the data model ID, what is the data set ID, and the table it has created. And then you can also ask stuff like publish the data model that you have created or build if it was in Elastic Cube. Now, let's do another one, which is like just like I was explaining, the well checks that it does. Like, for example, you want to find out, do I have M2M, which is many-to-many relationship in my data model? And it gives you information about whether your data model itself has some many-to-many relationships or not. Similarly to the finding unused, there is a flag that you can see if it's yes or no. All right. The other method or like the view is, like I was saying, migrating the assets between the deployment. So once you go here, you will see there is a source and a target environment. So similarly, you just need to provide what's your source is, your source environment is. So I'm going to do that. And let me enable the target as well. Next. Say it. Okay. So currently, suppose you wanted to, once you have done some development in your dev and you want to move it to the prod, you have some options. One is like, of course, exporting the data model or the dashboard manually and re-importing them in the new environment. There are APIs that do that as well. Whereas like in this flow, you just have to, simply ask what you want to do. So sorry, you can say migrate all users. And like I was saying, it's a write operations. It's going to ask you for a confirmation. Once you do that, it goes ahead. And so since it's just 26 users, so you didn't see the streaming, but will show in the other ones. So it will give you a nice summary as well once it's created, like what are the count in the source environment, like the users, how many it has migrated, if it has skipped, like a super count, like the super user count it has skipped. So it gives you a nice summary of what has been achieved. And then let's quickly take a look. Let me refresh. As you can see, you have all the users here. And we'll do the same for the dashboard as well, just to show you there are no dashboards here. And what we'll do is we'll ask it to migrate. And once you approve, now it has like lots of dashboard, of course. So it gives you like summary, what it's doing. So for example, it's giving you a summary right here. So it's gonna do it in a batch so that it's not like hitting your server crazily. So it does it in the batches of 10. You can control the batches how you want to do, but it gives you like each batch summary. Like this is the first batch. It's migrating 10 dashboards, and it has also the sleep in the middle so that like I said, like it's not consuming all the memory and the CPU. And as you can see, it has started adding all the dashboards in these. So right now it's 30, I think it's somewhere around 170. So it's going to keep on doing that until it finishes off. Um, so here, like you can find the GitHub repo in the articles, which we'll cover. But on a high level, this is what the GitHub repo looks like. You can review the README file here. You will see the architecture diagram as well. Most important thing would be you will see there is a tool catalog, which basically gives you information about like what are the available tools you can call. Uh, Somewhere I think it's in here. Okay, yeah. So here's the tool catalog. You can see, you can review like what are the tools it can perform for you. So there's a nice, split it across different assets like we had seen in the PySisense SDK as well. You probably would have seen already this article if you have joined. If not, then we can share it again. This is basically a blog which highlights like what exactly the whole application is. There is a video embedded on the picture itself. So if you click on it, it will take you to the video recording. But more importantly, you will see these links. So these are the links directly towards like the article of the each environment. Here, if you go, you will see first thing is like you can read the article. And the second important thing is like if you again click on the video here, this video will take you like show you the step-by-step guide on how to install everything. So first is like of course for the PySisense, which is straightforward, which I have shown. There is a link to the GitHub repo as well. Now, the second one is like if you want to see the same thing for the MCP, like I was saying, there is a video link. If you click on continue, it will show you the loop video, and you can look at the video. There will be the like step-by-step guide on how you can install the application and run it on your own laptop or server. Uh, Same thing, there will be a GitHub repo as well. Okay, sorry, back to here. So like I said, this is like on the high level overview of like architecture diagram, how the FES assistant works. First is like, of course, you have the user here asking something, asking a question, and that UI interface that you saw is built on top of Streamlit app. Then once you take that user intent, it goes to the backend services, which is using Fast API, where we have our agent, which is using the LLM. Currently, the LLM provided is from Azure OpenAI and Databricks model serving. Currently, we're using Llama, but I'm pretty sure it can work with any different LLM provider. So it's not like tied up to a single LLM provider. It can be used with whichever you are using in your organization. So the way it works is we send the user intent and the tool catalog to the LLM for understanding, grabbing the intent, and suggesting what is the tool it needs to call. And then in the MCP server, it's been built on built on Starlet, which is again is an API framework. And what it does is it takes that tool, then find like what is the equivalent PySisense SDK, and then calls that method, which actually goes to the Sisense deployment and get the results. There's also the offline script that you will see in the GitHub repo, in the project repo. These offline script is basically like a Python script, which what it does is it looks at the PySisense SDK documentation, more importantly, the method doc string to generate the tool catalog for the MCP. So this is just like one of those, like once we add like a new method in the PySisense, we just update the tool catalog. So it just automates that. In the GitHub repo, like the tool catalog is, or the tool definition is already there. So, but once we update like the PySisense, adding more features, more methods, we just need to run those automated script, which will update the tool registry as well. And of course, like you can see this here, which is Cloud Desktop. I didn't show the demo today, but in the video, in the article, you will see how to set it up with the Cloud Desktop as well. Uh, Basically, you can take away all the FS assistant, like the app. And if you want to use just the MCP server today, you can use that, just the MCP server, the FES MCP server, and connect with your MCP client, whichever you want to use. So for example, you want to connect to a cloud desktop, you can connect to the MCP server and do the same thing, ask your questions in that. Now, the only difference I want to highlight is, if you saw in the app, we had the control where we could control if you want to send the summary to the LLM or not. Whereas in the MCP client, generally you will not have the option, because in the cloud desktop, when you ask something and it's going to show in the chat, it will always see the data because it's showing there. Whereas in the FES assistant, you have that control, because we are using LLM just for the tool selection and calling, and not for the summarization. Quickly, a few key takeaways. Like I was saying, this is like scalable automation and governance tool. It follows the fully agentic workflow. Most importantly, this is an experimental community project, which means it's not like a Sisense product feature and does not follow the SLAs like the support ticket. If you have any additional questions or any feedback, reach out to your CSM or go through the community channels. Uh, and quick start resources are provided on the article, so you can read there. Feature requests and support, like I said, like if you have any feature requests or need any support, just reach out to your CSMs, or just mention like the feature request in the article's comment box itself. Next, we can have a Q&A, and I'll stop
Awesome.
sharing
Thanks,
my screen.
Himanshu. That was incredible. I was so skeptical that he'd be able to cover that in 30 minutes with two demos, but here we are, perfectly on time. I'll leave it another, again, for those that may have joined late or forgot during the presentation, there are a Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen here. So during the webinar at the bottom, if you have any questions for Himanshu, now is the time to do it. If not, you will hear me ramble for another 2 minutes before I go ahead and get and things off today. So, Himanshu, amazing to see not only things live, but as well as putting it into context and how our customers will be able to use that. As mentioned in the post-webinar email, we're not only we're going to send the recording, so everything you saw today, we're going to send over as well the links to the blog that Himanshu sent over that kind of really outlines everything else in detail that he mentioned. So this was really for those that like visual learners like myself that just want that kind of step-by-step guide. You got it from the source. This is the person that kind of built and had everything out there as well. So it looks like for the folks that actually stayed with us the entire time, there are no questions of Himanshu. It looks like you linked everything appropriately and had everyone explained and ready to go and dive into the Copilot stack and everything you showed today. So for the folks that are still here at the very last minute, thanks so much for joining us. There will be more success series, so keep an eye out on your email. Two things I'll lead you off with is one, if you enjoyed today's presentation, or if you have feedback or a topic that you'd like to see, please fill out the survey that's in that post email that I'm going to send out. And then two, shameless plug. Next week, we're gonna not have a success series, but Sisense is hosting another webinar with one of our customers, Clary, and they're gonna showcase their instance, their use case, and how they're finding success with Sisense. So if you're interested in that, seeing how an actual real Sisense customer is using Sisense, then please, you'll see, if you haven't already, you'll see an opportunity, a way to register for that in the post-webinar email as well. Awesome. Okay, well, we're at time. Himanshu, it looks like they're letting you off the hook and no questions to drill you for today. So with that, I will let you guys fly. Himanshu, thanks so much, and I hope to see you in a future success series.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye. See you next time.